Thank you, Natalie. Well, the Catholic Diocese of Buffalo has spent the last 4.5 years in federal bankruptcy court, brought on by hundreds of lawsuits from Catholics who say that they were sexually abused as children and that Buffalo's former bishops covered it up.
Well, tonight, 2 on Your Side Investigates is taking a deep dive into where things stand in light of diocese plans to close or merge 1/3 of its churches because they're too costly to keep open. Here's investigative reporter Charlie Speck with part 1 of an ongoing series, Faith and Fallout.
When the Diocese of Buffalo announced in May that it would close or merge 80 Catholic parishes, Bishop Michael Fisher said it came down to numbers.
We are not the church we were 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, let alone 5 years ago.
Fisher appointed Father Brian Zeleneski as the diocese's new vicar for renewal and development, where he has been the face of the Road to Renewal plan for consolidation.
I'm going to take a moment to explain where the data comes from and how we came with that data to the recommendations that we have today so that it's very clear and transparent. So nothing here is secret.
But we found transparency with the diocese only goes so far. The diocese has refused to release not just key financial data, but even the names of churches fighting closure.
But if you're going to roll out a list of specific churches, and a lot of them come as a surprise to people, then you need to be upfront with those people about why.
Braden Pritchard is on the Holy Name Society at St. Mark's Church in North Buffalo, which is slated for closure. He says the diocese has not released enough raw data being used to justify the closures, which has caused confusion and anger among parishioners.
And you're making them upset along the way by being frankly shady about a lot of this data, then how do you really think they're going to consolidate into another church? You really think they're going to stay and participate in the diocese, especially after all the things that have been going on?
On its Road to Renewal website, the diocese has posted some data that show a steep decline in practicing Catholics. Average weekend attendance 10 years ago was 130,000 people. It's now at just 57,000. There's a brief snippet of financial data, such as average contributions and the net operating balance, shown behind Zeleneski in this YouTube video posted by the diocese. But that information has not been posted online, which frustrates parents at St. Benedict in Amherst. They say their church is too financially sound to close.
The data and the reasoning that we're being fed, they just do not align.
St. Benedict is one of multiple schools the diocese plans to keep open even as it closes the church. Laura Smith says the church was a big reason her family chose the school.
It was clear that there was like that great chemistry there, which was really important for us as Catholics and people that attend church and want that for our children too.
On the issue of not just these parish numbers, but the data, and specifically the financial data of these parishes, what do you say to parents who look at this and say the diocese is not being transparent, they're not giving us all of the information that they have, and that they're doing that on purpose?
Well, I would say that a couple of things. Number one, all the data came from the parishes themselves, okay? So anything that we used in our recommendations was submitted by the parish in their annual reports, both financially and sacramentally.
Zeleneski said the diocese gave a binder of financial data to all pastors, and it is up to them to distribute. He says parishioners need to go through the priests so that church leaders know who wants the information.
We told all of the pastors they are free to release all of that information however they see fit. And since we are in Chapter 11 reorganization, we do have to be prudent about how we share our financial information.
Why not just put it all online? Put the data online like you have for the births, the deaths, the baptisms, you know, how many people are going to Mass. You put that online, but you haven't put the financial information online. Bankruptcy, it would seem, would require you to be more transparent with finances. Why not just put the rest of that online?
Again, I believe we are being transparent because we're trying to make sure that the leadership of all the parishes have everything that they need. They've been given that. They can do whatever they want with that information.
Zeleneski says the church wants to prevent certain people from using the data to submit their own counter-proposals to the planned closures.
We're trying to prevent rogue people that are trying to do things on the side coming up with counter proposals that our pastors and our leadership teams are unaware of.
Parents at St. Benedict say it's that top-down leadership model that's partly responsible for driving people away from the church.
They're expecting this to be like what our parents' generation was like, well, the diocese said it, so it must be the truth. And I'm sorry, we're not going to roll down and take it, and we're going to fight for our parish, because to be honest, they say a church is more than a building. Well, a church is nothing without the people in that building, and you have to remember that as well.
Charlie joins us now. Quickly to clarify, could a pastor go to a nearby church and ask to see their information? Are they free to do that?
So it is our understanding, based on what Father Zeleneski said, that people can do that. The problem with that is that not all pastors, not all of all parishes are on the same page. There could be multiple counter proposals being put forth within one parish family.
Charlie, your award-winning reporting led to the former bishop, Malone, to resign. What does the new bishop say about this?
So Bishop Fisher has not agreed to sit down and do an interview with us. We've made repeated requests. He has provided us, in fairness, with many of his aides to answer these questions, but for this series, as of now, he has not committed to sitting down with us. He did put out a statement earlier today, though, saying that no final decisions will be made on church closures until early September.
Alrighty, well, there are more parts to this series. What do you have coming up next?
So in part 2 of this series, we really take a deep dive into the finances, and this will give Catholics a look at how diocesan leaders are spending your money. We got a rare look at those finances by going through filings in bankruptcy court, and that's coming up on August 7th.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Charlie Speck, thank you so much for that report. Appreciate it.